Benin Kingdom and Ghana. The Benin Empire and Ghana. There was never a Yoruba Empire, but there was a Benin Empire. Benin ruled over Yoruba land up to her influence in Ghana. The exodus of the migrant from Egypt was followed by a mass movement of a dark-skinned people not recorded anywhere in the Christian Holy Bible. But descendants of the migrants of yore still remember their story today. They were not slaves, nor were they unduly oppressed under the pharaohs. Their departure was voluntary, and nobody tried to stop them when they decided to leave. Thus began the great trek of the founders of what would become Benin Kingdom, led by a few intrepid ones. Dab hands in magic and mysticism, inclusive, the band of migrants braved it down the desert, across mountains and great rivers, through vast savanna, overcoming obstacles along the way, fending off marauders or forming alliances with local tribes until they reached the jungly forest of Benin, where they eventually settled. The wayfarers from Egypt immediately made themselves at home as shipwrecked sailors suddenly discovering an island. The first settlers were organized into family systems called Okaigbe, whereby the head of each family decided on domestic matters. Of course, the land they settled was fertile enough for subsistence agriculture, and so many of the new arrivals took to farming. There were hunters as well. As the population increased over time, it became necessary for authority to be vested in one man. This was the beginning of the Ogiso dynasty, derived from Ogi ni Oriso, king in heaven or king from the sky. The first Ogiso was Obagodo, while the last, Owodo, reigned until the current Obaship system started with the accession of Oba Eweka I in the year 1200. When the monarchical system of government began proper in the ancient city. On the throne now since Oba Eweka I is the 38th king Oba Erediawa, formerly Prince Solomon Igbinogodua Aisiokwaba Akenzwa, crowned on March 25th, 1979. In between have been great Obas such as Ewedu, Ogwola, Izoti, Esige, Akenzai, Akengbedu, Akenzwa I, Adolo, Ovorame, Eweka II, Akenzwa II, and many more. All of them were sealed of royal blood, thus conferring on the ancient city an authentic monarchy as well as an empire that has endured for centuries compared to others before or after it. True, there was once a British Empire. It ceased to exist with loss of its colonies in the 16th and 17th. There was once the great empire of Ghana, of Mali, of Songhai. All of them are no more, having disintegrated into several different modern nation states now presidented over by political rulers. But Benin Kingdom has survived the vicissitudes of time and tribulation. Its traditional institutions intact and held together by the infallible authority of a monarchy, founded more than 800 years ago. From Eweka I, the chain of succession of rulers of Benin Kingdom has remained unbroken down to the present monarch. More than any other monarchical system in Nigeria, the baton of kingship has passed from father to son, from generation to generation over the years, such that the Obachip system in Benin has been unsealed by bastard blood. Once a usurper tried to impose himself as king after Oba Ovorame was exiled to Calabar by the British in the wake of the invasion in 1897. The gods promptly decided the matter themselves as the impostor became paralyzed as soon as he sat on the throne. From then till now, the royal house in Benin boasts real blue blood, not tainted by a truculent uncle or a Machiavellian son-in-law rising to become king as a result of court intrigues. There is only one Oba in Benin. We have no other monarch. Chief Isehure Nusahari told Sunday Sun afternoon in this palace on Sokmomba Road, sort of confirming the uniqueness of the monarchical system in Benin. We established a monarchy that is so unique, is unparalleled because the way we organized our kingship system is so pronounced, Chief Isehure continued, exemplary. We have the Oba at the apex and the chiefs next to them are the dukes, mostly princes and warriors rewarded by the Oba. Following that are priests who minister to the well-being of the Oba of Benin. Sitting on his high-backed throne of bronze-plated chair with bronze cast of lions on each armrest, his voice carries an authority far more than his frame. Isehure has stepped forward long before human rights activists took to the street against military dictatorship in the 90s. His home was surprised and raided many times by security forces. They never met anyone at home, even though they had reports that we were always meeting in my house in our recourse. His title as the chief priest of Benin Kingdom makes him next to the Oba in terms of power and influence, not next in line to the throne. However, by his definition, he functions as minister to the kingdom on the basis of our spiritual values, particularly as they relate to the Oba of Benin. I am the chief keeper of the highest deities in Benin belongings to the king. A Canadian-trained journalist, Chief Isehure, is a raconteur of sorts telling the history of Benin of the curve, easily sequoing from the early settlers from Egypt to the first capital of the kingdom, Udo, the distinct architectural features of pre-colonial Benin to great warriors like Asoro and traitors like Obaseki, down to the culture shock now experienced by younger generation of Beninese due to modernity. Ancient Benin, the custodian of the most important shrines harvest, was one of the best planned cities in the world. Even now, it occupies a respectable radius of 9 miles from Ring Road, which is the center of Benin. Though the city itself falls mainly under Oredo local government area, Benin-speaking people are scattered across several months like Ovia, Northeast, Wode, and Orion. Unlike now, flash floods were non-existent in ancient Benin. Buildings never collapsed. The streets were wide and straight, and houses far from the roads, as you still have in some major roads and streets like Akpakpava today. Taking a swipe at the dangerous proximity of fences to roads and streets in parts of Benin today, particularly GRA, compared to what obtained in the past, Isekure laments that today's tenants are the ones who are supposed to have gone to university, but they are the ones doing the wrong things. Our fathers never went to school, but they built good roads. There were green belts all around the ancient city and ponds into which rainwater emptied. There was a moat now covered with shrubs and bushes as you enter Benin through Airport Road, constructed for defensive purposes where approaching enemy soldiers were spied first before they reached the city. The length of the moat spanned 15,000 kilometers, and each village had one to keep enemies at bay right from time, Isehure says. Benin had always operated a democracy, even in territories conquered by the Benin. Other parts of the state, like the Esa, part of Afema, own their origin to the Benin. Prince Ginowa, the founder of Warri, famously left Benin for the coastal settlement. At its peak, the empire's influence has stretched as far as Ghana, Benin Republic, and Togo. The Ga in Ghana, for example, claim to be descendants of Benin, but they don't speak Benin language. The reason for that, Sehure allows, is because we didn't impose our language in territories that we ruled over. Back home, the doors of democracy was no less administered judiciously, as Sehure tells it. The people reach their Oba through the chiefs, though he also admits that people don't get to see the Oba regularly. But the Oba's position makes him the final arbiter, and that is the way it has been for the 800 years of this current Obaship system. Listening to Isehure is like hearing a Tibetan mystic expound on the virtues of spiritualism. Coupled with his function as the chief priest of Benin, he is a self-proclaimed member of the Rosicrucian order. The essence of spiritual power is to bring peace and ensure development and progress in the society. He says eagerly, he hold onto a tradition also in a way that we will be able to bequeath to upcoming generation the values of our people just as we inherited it from our fathers. So we want to bequeath to our children the values of sincerity, hard work, love, honesty, and respect for the authority. Respect for the authorities is what you notice everywhere in Benin, whether at home, in offices, parks, bus stops, or markets, and in just about any part of the city too. New Benin, Ugbawo, Ekenwa Road, College Road, Okoro, Uwelu, Iyaro, GRA, etc. However well off young people are or have become, you'd almost notice their difference to older people, male or female, through the common salutations of Ipa Domo, translated roughly as my greetings, elders mostly for males. But all that is unmatched by the collective reference Benin's have for their traditional institution as represented by the Oba. Witness the altercation between the current Oba and the state governor in Edo years back. In a show of executive might, the governor was resolved to discipline the traditional ruler. Of course, it failed as nearly all of Benin rallied to their Oba's support And what was the end result? Obanode go transfer. The people chorus. More recently, the popular chief businessman and parvenu in Benin allegedly ruined the monarch on more than one occasion. He was immediately deranked for his misdeeds. Sources say he has since gone on his knees, demonstrating to all that respect for constituted authority is paramount. We've been able to imbibe all this through the years, Sekure adds, and such has been the order in Benin. By 1485, when the first European traders arrived, they found a rich and powerful civilization on the west coast of Africa. Others commented about the administrative ease with which the city was ruled, with indigenous owing complete allegiance to their king. Benin people are a very unique set of people because of their belief in a system of spiritual values. Isekure continues on how the system has been sustained for years. We see relevance in everything in creation, both animate and inanimate objects. So when we relate to the tree, we relate to it as if we are dealing with a human being. Same with water. All these things have their values and they are essential to us just as we are essential to them. That's why we recognize four elements: water, fire, wind, and earth. And these elements never die. We need these elements in order for humans to exist. Therefore, when we are talking about God, we first recognize these elements and we dedicate shrines to them. We talk to them because they are very vital in our lives. We've been able to preserve all the important shrines despite Christianity. We believe in God, but God would not come from the sky to come and do anything for you. We are the ones who must invoke the authority God possesses. We are representing God and we cannot decree things to happen and they will happen because God has given us the power to invoke Him because God is within us. We tap the energy of God through the rain, sun, wind, and earth. It is up to you to tap that energy and use it for positive goals. The positive goals of the ancient empire were already evident to early European missionaries and merchants that landed in the 15th century. The Portuguese connection, the first to visit, were the Portuguese historical account record that a certain Afonso visited the court of Oba Esigi. Esigi was actually taken to Portugal where he was converted to Catholicism. He, in turn, converted many of the royal household on his return. The red-roofed, white-painted sturdy building on Akpakpava named Rosa Cathedral is a result of Benin's early contact with the Portuguese. According to record, the church is one of the oldest in Nigeria, built circa 1485, eventually renovated and the only place generations of Obas worship. After the 30th coronation anniversary of Oba Erediawa 2 months ago, for instance, the monarch repaired to the church for Thanksgiving. Another Portuguese influence discernible today is the sartorial preference of Benin chiefs. The up and down outfit they wear is a complete imitation of the cassock worn by Catholic priests. The Portuguese, it seemed, enjoyed cordial relationship with Benin people in and out of the court. The current ambassador to Portugal is the heir apparent. The Portuguese taught people in the royal household the art of bronze casting. They also fought as mercenaries in some of the city's wars with other tribes. Today, young and old in Benin understand when you say Botoki, a corruption of Portuguese. Next were the Dutch, the Spanish, and then the British. All came for trade purpose in search of palm oil, pepper, ivory, and slaves. Indeed, it was no reason for monopoly of trade. The British sent an envoy early in January 1897. As Isekere recalls, Captain Philip and 10 other Europeans arrived Ugotom, a port town near Benin, seeking audience with Oba Ovorame. All the time, the king was deep in the annual Ugi festival and so could not see any visitor because of certain ceremonial rites he had to perform. Whether or not Queen Victoria's envy felt slighted can never be truly understood. What much is known is that he bashed his way into Benin. They were ambushed by natives and murdered, save for two. Captain Bosroga and R.F. Locker, who escaped on February 10th in the same year. The British organized a punitive attack with a contingent of Rhodesian, now Zimbabwe, and Hausa soldiers against Benin, known to history students in secondary schools around Nigeria as the Benin Massacre of 1897. In reality, it was an invasion, insists Moses Obo, a photojournalist with the Nigerian Observer, because if it was a massacre, then there would be nothing left. At the end of invasion, however, the ancient city of Benin was in ruins. The monarch deported to Calabar most of the precious artworks looted by the rampaging soldiers, formerly Festac Mask, still in the British Museum to this day. Culture capital of Nigeria, with the prodigious pillaging of artworks during the invasion, anyone would conclude that Benin would be as good as finished. Culturally, wrong. Instead, the city founded by the Ogisos seems much in the lead when it comes to art and culture in Nigeria. Proof of that is everywhere in the city. Walk around Ring Road, for instance, and you will be amazed at the number of sculptural works mounted on pedestals. No fewer than 7 such works at all half a dozen roads and streets leading from Ring Road, statues of kings and warriors. There is a sculptural representation of Oba Esigi, another of Ewari the Great, and Ovorame's chief warrior, Asoro, reputed for his mystical powers in battle, is somewhere at the beginning of Akbaba. Lying beneath him are the bodies of slain British soldiers. A jungling distance from Ring Road is the headquarters of anything at today in Benin. Igun Street is as famous for bronze cast, iron smelting, ivory, and wood carving as Red Earth is native to Benin. From Soap Bomber Road, a bold gold lettering. Guide of Benin bronze casters, World Heritage Site, emblazoned on an arched gate, proclaims to visitors the chief occupation of artisans on Igun Street. In both sides of the street are shops, carved with finished bronze cast, animal figures, busts of past and present monarchs and famous sons and daughters of Benin. Inside the shops in structures and their apprentices fills over plaster coast of soon to be finished works or beckon to passengers by, hoping for a good bargain. The street was once the place to go for rare and original works, but today a source told the newspaper they are all mostly ersatz works because of mass production. But if you are looking to see original works of art, then the National Museum and Monuments is the ideal place.